review session. Welcome to another review session with Kaizen Reading Group. As we all know, we are still reviewing the same book. We're reviewing it for a couple of weeks now, about 5 weeks. That's Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. I think the first session we did like an introduction of the book, which was on the night that changed my life, that night that changed the life of Jeff Keller. The second session, that's when we started reviewing part 1, so lesson 1, which was on success begins in the mind. The third session, we looked at you are a human magnet. The fourth session, we looked at picture your way to success. And last week, which was the 5th session, we looked at, we reviewed the book, the part of the book that was on make a commitment and you would move mountains. So today, which is like the 6th session, and the final session for part 1 of the book, which is turn your problems into opportunities. And today we have someone that will be helping us to do a review of this book for 15 minutes. So I'll be handing over to Kewe Uchechukwu to take us through the next 15 minutes on turning your problems into opportunities. So Kewe, please confirm that you can hear me. Hi Kewe, are you there?
Hi Ufoma, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
so
good.
So please go ahead now. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Ufoma Akpoyibo, for that wonderful brief recount from the very first lesson up until now. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you to the entire team for providing me with this opportunity to review the book today. I'll be reviewing lesson 5 of the book Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. And today's topic is turn your problems into opportunities. So the book, this particular lesson is reminding us, I'll say a reminder, because even in the Christian, both in the Christian and Muslim faith, and I'm sure even the traditional worship, we all agree that challenges or adversity is part of life. And so it's not something that we are immune to as human beings. But as common as that would seem, most times our first reaction to challenges or to adversity is usually in the negative. We see it as something bad. Maybe somebody's doing us from the village, or somebody doesn't like us, or something like that. So our first reception of challenges is usually in the negative. But the book author today is reminding us to change our posture, to see or view challenges as opportunities or springboards for success, for something new, in our lives. And he shared quite a number of examples in this lesson that were really touching. We saw a particular Sharon lady who who was challenged, to her health, basically. And that brief moment of illness or sickness made her have a different view on life. Her neighbors came around, they rallied around her, they were so helpful and all of that. And after her recovery process, it changed her perception of life and gave her renewed strength to move on with her life and to do something different. We also saw another example, another case study. Who was the second person now? Just a moment. Something Bruno, right? A certain Bruno man. He had an accident. He was gravely injured. He lost his job. He lost his house. He became bankrupt and all of that. And in the midst of all of that chaos that was going on in his life, he got an idea for a new business, which he launched after recovery, and which, brought about a whole new adventure for him, self rediscovery for him too, and all of that. And of course, financial breakthrough too for him and his family. So the essence of the lesson is just reminding us that challenges or adversity is something that we should welcome, it's something that we should accept, and it's something that we should view with the lens of trying to find out what good is there in it for me. So rather than view challenges as something negative or something bad, or view it as somebody trying to witch hunt us from our villages or something like that, we should rather see it as, you know, an opportunity for us to grow, an opportunity for us to try something. Sometimes you hear people say, oh, they were laid off. Maybe at the time they were even struggling with the job, not finding how they fit in, but also the fear of losing the job and a steady means of income, kept them. But maybe somehow along the line there was a layoff, and they find themselves doing something that they didn't think, at the time, that they had the abilities to do, and it later became something like a success story for them. During the COVID-19, so we had a similar incident, worldwide. A lot of people were stuck indoors. You couldn't go out, you couldn't go to the offices, and work life changed as we knew it. Now we have remote work, hybrid and all of that. This came about mainly, or it became publicized after the lockdown, the COVID-19 lockdown. So opportunities, and we saw that a lot of businesses, in tech and all of that sprung during that period. So challenges are opportunities for us to look inwards, for us to gather inner strength, for us to reevaluate our lives and, take a different turn if it's not going the way that we want, in the direction that we want, or um, do something different to add that extra spice that we need in our lives. And there are 7 ways mentioned in this lesson in which adversity can serve us. The first one, there it says adversity gives us perspective. And that is true, because even for us, if we are to reflect on our lives, we can think of many times when we've had setbacks, or when we've had delays, or when we've had some kind of challenges that at the time seemed negative, seemed like something that was going to break us. But looking back now, in hindsight, we can appreciate those moments. We can even thank God for them. So it gives us deeper perspective to reevaluate our lives and to see things from a whole new light. Another point that was mentioned there is adversity teaches us to be grateful. And that is true. Sometimes when you're sick, that is when you appreciate the value of good health. When you wake up and every day you are fine, you can jump from the bus, or you can go out and come back and unaided, you can eat, nobody's feeding you on passing pipes through your nostrils or something like that, or giving you drips. You think it's normal, and sometimes we forget that these things are reasons to be grateful for. But if peradventure, maybe you have a headache or something that ties you down, um, health wise, it's only then that you have some time to reflect and then now be grateful for the good health that you have enjoyed, all this time. Sometimes, maybe for those who are Christians, you're in church and they're asking, do we have testimonies? Sometimes you can't think of anything special that has happened to you that you should testify about, but moments um, like adversity, or when we have challenges, help us to be appreciative of things that ordinarily we would just gloss over or see as common or natural. The third point there is adversity brings out our hidden potentials, and I had mentioned that in the course of my explanation earlier, that sometimes you don't know the abilities that you have, unless you push yourself, unless something, challenges you or something tasks you. You probably tell yourself, oh, I can't work for example, I can't work for 12 hours. I can't work for this. I can't do this. I can't do that. But when challenges of life puts you in that situation, you find yourself doing that stretch that you didn't think you could do, before. So it brings out our hidden potentials if we are open-minded and if we allow ourselves to grow, by virtue of that challenge or experience. The fourth of the seven points there is adversity encourages us to make changes and take action. To make changes and take action. Like I mentioned with the issue of the COVID-19, a lot of people maybe had ideas for businesses that were just lying docile somewhere in their heads, or maybe they had even scribbled it down somewhere, but it was just there. They were enjoying their 9 to 5, they were going out and all of that. But when the challenge of COVID-19 came, and when everybody was restricted and locked indoors or kept indoors, people had to start thinking, okay, I have to feed. I have a family to cater for. I have bills to pay. How do I meet my needs? What can I do differently? And it brought about, different ideas, and people were able to take steps that they have been putting off for a long time. So indeed, adversity encourages us to make changes, to take action. Even the writer himself, Keller, he was a trained lawyer, and along the line, he was not enjoying the job, and he had to make a switch in his career. And we've seen different people like that, even in our own um, environment, or people that we know, how they made such drastic turns in their life, perhaps sometimes due to adversity. So it does help us make changes and take necessary action that we have been delaying for some time. The fifth point there is adversity teaches us valuable lessons. Sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, I tried this business, it didn't work. I tried this other one, it didn't work, and then, I kept trying." Persistence, having that courage to continue to press, to continue to push, and before you know it, you'll find, some green light at the end of the tunnel. So, and you would have learned many other ways in which you shouldn't have done something in the first place. So it teaches us valuable lessons, sometimes for ourselves, sometimes for others that we will meet, along the way. So that's another benefit, advantage of challenges or adversity. The sixth point there is adversity opens a new door. Yes, sometimes you hear people say or share stories of maybe heartbreak, for example, and then it will seem as if the world has ended for them. It will seem as if there's no moving forward from that point. But after time, when they open their hearts to love again, you find that they will now realize that they were even in the wrong relationship in the first place. They will meet somebody else who is just everything that they had hoped for or longed for. And so it opens new doors, and not just for relationships, even for work, even for our career path, even for business, or anything at all. Once we open our minds to see challenges differently and to look for the positives in whatever negatives or negative situation we are facing, it is only then that we are able to see a way out. Like someone would say, if you stay in a dark room long enough, you'll begin to see. So if you turn off, or maybe if you're in a room now full of light and then suddenly the light goes out, NEPA takes light. It's very common here in Nigeria. You see that for maybe the first 5 seconds or so, everywhere seems so dark and you can't move around. But if you stay there a bit longer, you'll be able to see, you'll be able to find your way around. So that's what adversity does for us. That's what challenges um, do for us. They open new doors, they help us see things from a new light, from a new perspective. And finally, the seventh point there is adversity builds confidence and self esteem. Adversity builds confidence and self-esteem. Like I was saying when we're talking about teaching us valuable lessons, I said sometimes not just for us, but for other people too. So you find people who have gone through a particular situation in life, now able to mentor or provide guidance to people who will come after them, who are also going through similar paths. So sometimes, and then you see that you feel more comfortable, more relaxed when you are getting counsel or advice from somebody who has walked in your shoes, as against somebody who is just maybe encouraging you but has not been through a similar situation as the one that you're passing through. So, and at that time when you are providing such guidance or providing such um, um, guidance, you find that you are speaking from a place of experience. You're speaking with confidence because this is something that you have been through and somehow you've been able to overcome. So it's not something that you read in the textbook. It's a first-hand experience. So you can speak with confidence and you can speak and it boosts your self-esteem too. So there are valuable lessons in summary that we can learn from adversity or from challenges if we keep an open mind. So no matter where we are, where we've come from, or whatever challenges that we face in life, the author of this book is reminding us today to keep an open mind, to view challenges as opportunities for success, for a turnaround in our lives, and doing that, we'll be able to turn our problems into opportunities. So thank you very much. I don't want to take so much of your time so that we can allow for people to make contributions. But in summary, that's what this lesson 5 is about. And I just want to also mention a quote by Napoleon Hill that says, "Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit." So if we view adversities with the right set of eyes, like I said earlier, we would see that it comes with almost equal benefits if we can just tarry a bit and look inwards to find our inner strength overcoming it. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Kere. I mean, thank you very much. Yes, as in one thing that I mean, like I was reading this particular lesson of this part one of the book was the fact that it reminded me of during COVID period, like you mentioned, during COVID period where we all had to adjust and find new ways of working. And in the midst of all of that, where we all had to adjust, I mean, people had opportunities came from nowhere for some people, and I mean, people found ways of, I mean, breaking, how will I put it, opportunities of making ideas came from nowhere, you know, during that period. Even now, as a country, Nigeria, like we are going through a lot, we are all having to deal with new fuel price and all of that. But somehow we are able to just adjust and see the opportunities that hopefully, like the opportunities that would eventually come out from all of that. So at this point, I think we'll just open the floor for anyone that wants to just make a comment or make any additions or contribution to this particular lesson of the book, this particular lesson that we are talking about, which is turning challenges into opportunities. Okay, so while we wait for more people to talk, maybe one thing maybe I want to say about this book, which was one of the stories that Jeff Keller mentioned in this particular lesson, that has to do with someone that had to do with is it Dave Brunner also, that had a job, he lost his job, and one day while he was going home, he had an accident and he was on life support for a couple of days. And I think while he was recovering, he now remembered that his mom used to, I mean, put motivational quotes at different places, different parts of the house that they used to like read to motivate them to do more. So that idea came up that he now felt that, oh, he could actually come up with such kind of quotes and sell, and people would just would buy and all of that. You know, we talked about how he went from looking for one printing company and all of, eventually before he was able to, I mean, come up with that idea. Proud to them when he lost his job, that idea never came. So at times, at times when we are faced with different challenges, somehow God just always gives us an idea, sort of. Even some of those people, for example, like the instance that she mentioned, of maybe someone that was, had a fantastic job and felt that, what, this particular job, and from nowhere was sacked and all of that. And at that point, you will be complaining, you will feel bad. And I'm like, where do I even start from? And at that point, maybe a fantastic business idea could just come from nowhere, which you never even thought of, that could even make you make 5 times what you were even earning, that you felt was great. So somehow, when we are faced with challenges, somehow opportunities just come, and we just need to just always look at the bright side to everything. When no matter what things that we are faced with, let's always remember the fact that for these things to happen, there has to be a reason for it. No matter how bad that situation, we should always look at the fact that there is always a lesson to learn from this thing that I'm going through. So thank you so much, Kere, for that review. I don't know if anyone has anything to add to that.
All right. Thank you so much, Kewe, for that calm review. And Ufoma, thank you as well. So the only part I want to just add is for us to understand generally that where we do not have control over so many things in life, right? There are so many things that will happen to us that we do not have control over it. What Jeff is telling us here is to put calmness and ensure that we're able to control the situation as much as possible, right? And we have cited the example of COVID. When we're young, during Hope 93 for Abiola, for instance, so there were so many issues in town. There was no petrol, there was no kerosene, riots everywhere. People came up with all sorts of innovation, right? I even remember during the era of Abacha, there was something called Abacha stove. And people would be asked to go to sawmill, take sawdust, put bottles within this, and just start using. That's when we realized that we can use coal, right? So many opportunities. The way God has structured humanity and the earth is that there are always way out in everything that we find ourselves. The only thing is we just need to put up that cap of getting out of it for us to really benefit from it. That's number one. The second thing I also want to add is the quotation that I dropped in the chat, which says that anything that hurts teaches or instructs. Let me read it verbatim. It said the things which hurts instructs, and that is Benjamin Franklin. Some of us, when we have challenges, we tend not to look back as to what exactly caused this. Some of us might have having performance issues. You can sit down and ask yourself, what exactly is the cause of this performance issue? This business is not going well. Have I taken time to understand why this business is not going on fine? Some people, you'll tell them, take your job seriously, right? Come to office promptly, do your work, don't be lazy, and all of that, right? But they will not do. But when they are sacked, the reality will come out, and they will not really appreciate those advice that they were given and they didn't take seriously. So general principle of life is when you see challenges comes with opportunity. You just need to be calm. You need to think deeper and take the instruction from that hardship to learn. Nigeria is hard today, right? Youth are now learning plenty skills. You see someone who will tell you, I'm a data analyst, I'm a UI UX designer, I'm a QA expert, I'm a business analyst. One person learning all of this. And what is that person preparing for? Any opportunities that comes. Whereas someone is sitting in the comfort of his room, complaining about Tinubu, complaining about joblessness and unemployment, reading the statistics about, but you are not seeing that there are opportunities for you to learn, sorry. So basically the emphasis on this chapter is for all of us, we cannot control situations, but when they come, what learning are you taking from it? So that punishment or that hurt or that adversity will not just come without learning from it. What lessons have I learned? And what can I apply to avoid getting into this at a later time? So those are the lessons that I got from this, and from the experience that Jeff himself shared, right? He told us he went through what we call Shege Pro Max when he was switching his career, right? But eventually he's happy, right? We are reviewing his book today because we think that is what's our while. So, right? So let's just take challenges like opportunities and let's keep pushing. Thank you, and over to you, Informa.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kazim, for that contribution. I mean, like you said, there are always, how like it is, there are always when we are faced with challenges, God, like as you said, God cannot give us more than what we can handle. So for that thing to happen, God knows that we can actually survive it, and maybe by going through that process, we are able to see the opportunities and be able to learn from that particular situation, and also make better the situation and see the opportunity or what we can do to better ourselves in such scenarios. Thank you so much. I don't know if anyone wants to add to that, but we just have 3 minutes to wrap up. So I think as we said, part beginning of this book about when Jeff Keller said that we should clear our cloudy window, basically. So when we are faced with challenges, we should not just sit on it, complain and do nothing. When we complain and do nothing, nothing will change, right? But when we decide to look for the opportunities, or look at why that thing is happening, or why am I going through this? So that way we are able to make better that particular situation or that challenge that we're experiencing at that point in time. So let me quickly just check again if anyone else has any challenge. Just to mention, you can also follow us on our social media handles on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn as well, and I think we're on Facebook. And next week, we are actually having a quiz for the part 1. So we've been all through the last 6 weeks, that's plus today, we've been reviewing part 1 of this book. Last 5 weeks, we've been part 1 plus the introduction. So I'll say last 6 weeks, we've been reviewing part 1 of this book. So we're going to have a quiz next week. So where would we didn't play a quiz, and I mean there are prizes to be won. So I just want to encourage every one of us to refresh our how let's put it, do a refresh of all that I've learned so far. I mean, you can watch all the videos on YouTube, right? You can glance through the book again, or you can better still just watch the videos so that you are better prepared for the quiz next week. I think it's 1 minute to 8. So
Just
I
to
don't
add,
know if
lastly, is the quiz will be covering all the sessions that we've done. How to win friends and influence people, to be covering that, and the ones that we've done so far on Jeff Keller. We'll be doing a summary of all of that in 15 minutes, and then take the last 15 minutes to run through the quiz. There are prizes, like Performer said, to be won by people participating. Thank you. I think we can wrap up.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, 8 o'clock on the dot. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy your weekend, and see you same time next week.
Thank you, Kerry. Thank you, Performer. Bye-bye.
Thank you.